So in twists and turns, ups and downs, and a whole lot of other stuff going on in between, the Libertarian Party's convention has gone and passed, and there was a lot of stuff that went down. Now, I can only break down so much of the convention. I know Craig Jardula-Pasta did a fantastic job covering the convention, and as it stands right now, the Libertarians do have a nominee. It is Chase Oliver, who is now successfully their nominee. So going forward, the Libertarians now have a point person, which was tweeted out by comedian Dave Smith. Congratulations to Chase for Liberty, Chase Oliver, on his win. He wasn't my preferred candidate, but he ran a great campaign, put it together, and won. I appreciate that he's unapologetically anti-war, and I hope he leads with that in his presidential campaign. I wish him the best of luck spreading the message. So that's what happened. However, there's a lot more that went down at the Libertarian Convention than just picking up the nominee. There was also the presence of Donald Trump and RFK Jr. And I think it's only important for us to really kind of address what really went down at this convention and how Trump himself was perceived, or how he was received by the people. So first, I think all of this has been pretty much going viral all over social media, and that was Trump being booed by the Libertarians. So let's go ahead and play this video.
That's good. It's a theft. We believe we cannot give crooked Joe Biden 4 more years. And I stand, and I am not a good thing. That's nice. Whoa. That's nice. That's nice.
So he was being booed, but there's a more important speech that really stood out, and that is when, of course, he goes on to confront the Libertarians about why he should get their nomination. Now, again, he was rejected, as well as RFK Jr. However, I think it's important for us to at least hear at least one of his comebacks to one of the audience, to the people there at the convention. He didn't hold anything back, and I do hold out some questions later on into what grounds Libertarians can gain now that they do have their nominee.
Think of this. First time in U.S. history that a presidential candidate of a rival party will address the convention of a party that is presumably gathering to nominate its own candidate. Now I think you should nominate me, or at least vote for me, and we should win together. You heard those words. Nominate me or vote. Vote for me. Because the Libertarians want to vote for me, and most of them will. And it's very important. Because we have to get rid of the worst president in history. And together we will. And without it, there's a risk that we could have 4 more years. We won't have a country left. So what is the purpose of the Libertarian Party getting 3%? What is the reason to take a chance of having this horrible president destroy our country, which he will do in far less than 4 years? It's not going to take 4 years. That is why I'm committing to you tonight that I will put a Libertarian in my cabinet and also Libertarians in senior posts. Pretty good. That's pretty big. Or you can keep going the way you have for the last long decades. And
okay, listen, we all know that corporate media has been smearing third parties and independents for a very long time, but Trump just really kind of gave a gut check to third parties right here. Look, and I love independents, I love libertarians, I love Greens, but let's face it, it is time for many third parties to become more innovative and become more creative especially in outreach, and especially when you have decades of dropping the ball. And yes, states and federal laws do prohibit third parties from being on the ballot, be on the debate stage. When you get called out like that, especially in front of a hostile crowd, you know, Trump delivered a gut check.
Or you can keep going the way you have for the last long decades and get you 3%, then meet again, get another 3%. No, you want to make yourself winners. It's time to be winners. You have a lot of common sense. It's time to be winners.
So what can we take away from that? First of all, there's a little bit more that happened at this convention. So both Donald Trump and RFK Jr. were there. They were speaking at the Libertarian convention. Perhaps maybe a way to garner more voters. After all, Politics 101 is convincing the other side that you are more successful. That is the truth of it all. Politics 101 is ensuring that you get enough votes. However, the highlight, I think most of the Libertarian convention was at least covered by the fact that it took a while for the Libertarians to at least pick their nominee. And there's a whole big process which was taking place. I remember even getting a few phone calls in regards to saying that if the Libertarians don't pick a nominee by the end of the convention, they could potentially lose ballot access in 22 states. As it stands right now, the Libertarians have 48 states, but imagine if they lost that would have been a severe gut check to the entire Libertarian Party, especially for the ground that they have gained in this election cycle. Now, that didn't happen. Obviously, Chase Oliver is the nominee, but there's a little bit more that took place at the convention. I want to pull up this article from Common Dreams, where RFK Jr. rejected by Libertarians after they loudly booed and heckled Trump. So, oddball presidential candidate RFK Jr. Very interesting that the staff at Common Dreams wrote it like that, but okay, whatever. Was eliminated from the contention for the oddball Libertarian Party's presidential nomination during the party's national convention Sunday afternoon in Washington. Kennedy was eliminated in the first round of voting after receiving support from 19 delegates, or just 2.7% of delegates. Earlier, Libertarian Party chair Angela McArdle had ruled that former President Donald Trump was not even qualified to be considered for the nomination because he did not submit the proper nomination papers. Trump, however, received 6 write-in votes, defeating, Stormy Daniels, Danielle the Cat, and Sean Arnold Lennon. So great. He defeated Stormy Daniels. Again, gave her a real pounding. No pun intended. Donald Trump was booed loudly and repeatedly during his speech to the Libertarians Saturday night as he asked for their support. Trump, to present the Republican nominee, told the party's delegates to unite with him to beat Joe Biden. He said, as we've heard in the video, "We must work together," he said. "Combine with us. You have to combine with us." The crowd responded to Trump's plea with shouts of "bullshit" and "F you," which is kind of funny if you really think about it. I've never seen anything that much in regards towards Trump having a hostile crowd. Imagine if he had done that in front of a Democratic Party convention. I'm pretty sure the boos would be going on for all the evening. People would be screaming from the rooftop. But I do want to play this video here. Shout out again to Hotspot. Now, this was before he got rejected. This was RFK Jr. accepting at least a nomination for the first round before he was defeated.
I'm sending in this video from California this morning to let you know that I accept this unexpected honor. I've always admired the Libertarian Party. I have a deep alignment with the core values, the antipathy toward war, the commitment to end our addiction to forever wars, and the love of personal freedoms and liberties, the understanding.
While he's saying that, the censorship of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram is intensifying, especially after the recent strike that took place in Rafah. RFK Jr. being anti-war, let's face it, folks, and we'll be talking about Rafah on our Rumble channel exclusively. However, if you look at the devastation that's taking place right now, you cannot deny the horror that is going on there. You cannot deny the fact that men, women, and children are starving, yet he wants to claim the title still being anti-war. Tell me, what does Rabbi Shmuley have over you, man?
That the only way that we are going to fulfill the destinies that God created us to fulfill is by exercising freedom of choice. and that the United States Constitution is the global template for outlining those freedoms, and that those freedoms are sacrosanct. The Constitution was written for hard times, and that there are no exceptions. I'm going to protect these rights. I'm going to protect your rights. I'm going to protect the United States Constitution. And I'm going to end the foreign wars. And I'm very, very grateful to the Libertarian Party for this great honor. And I look forward to an alliance across the country, a fusion alliance of all of these independent parties who are now challenging the Republican, Democrat, corrupt duopoly.
Too bad. Too bad. Too bad. He lost the first round. And as it stands, as I think all of us should really consider for the fact of what RFK Jr., what his campaign message has been so far, he's been pretty much pro-Israel. There's no denying that. And that didn't fly over well with the Libertarian Party, and he was knocked out the first round. Trump was largely booed, and the Libertarians picked their nominee. Now, how many people were paying attention? How many people are made aware that now the Libertarians are all settled and they are ready to push forward with their campaign? Well, yes, the media was paying attention to it. However, they were mostly paying attention to just RFK Jr. and Trump. Two front cards. That's it. If the Libertarians are going to plan on gaining any ground, they're going to have to be unapologetic. They're going to have to really get their message out there and really stand out against not only Joe Biden, Trump, RFK Jr., the Green Party, and to some extent, Dr. Cornel West. But now all eyes are on what third parties can do this election cycle. However, again, voter outreach is going to be significant, and there's a lot to really take away. But I want to highlight this one video in particular, and this was from Craig Passager-Dula, who was at the convention, and this is just one of the Libertarian presidential candidates who got eliminated, and I want to just pull up his commentary here. So shout out again to Pasta, who was doing a fantastic job. Be sure to follow him on all of his social media. He's one of the dauntless few.
Yeah. Gave it a hell of a shot, man.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Your thoughts on the whole process and what you experienced today, Mr. Rectenwall?
Well, it's kind of sucks winning 5 straight rounds and then losing in the last one. And I was promised an endorsement by one of the candidates who turned out to be a snake.
Yeah.
So lied to me 4 times, and that's just the lack of integrity amongst these people. I'm stunned.
Yeah.
I actually didn't do any glad handling with the other candidates, making deals, paying people off, none of that stuff.
Yes.
I just ran a race like me against them, and the best man wins. But that's not how it happened.
Yeah. Well, are you okay with the process? Are you going to object? Or, I mean, I know the rules are the rules, but with write-ins, it just seems kind of odd that they would eliminate the other candidate that's viable for the nomination. So are you going to pick a protest whatsoever, or is the rules pretty much set in stone and you're just going to deal with the results?
I don't think there's any rules that we can challenge.
Gotcha. Thank you so much.
They have to do a 2/3 amendment to
Yeah.
the bylaws, and that's not going to happen.
Have you given any instructions or orders or your thoughts to the people who supported you on what
Not
to do
yet.
next?
I will.
You will.
Absolutely, but they're not going to give me time for that on the stage.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody knows how much I appreciate them, but I will tell them again.
Yeah.
I've had the greatest supporters. I had an amazing staff, starting with Lori Price, my partner in crime, Mike Heiss, Dave Casey, Jennifer Hobbin. 4 of us almost won. Really,
Yeah.
almost won this. We didn't have a big staff. We were mean and lean
Yeah.
fighting machine.
Well, if they
And then
come,
all my donors,
yes.
amazing donors. I got in touch with what I consider to be the natural aristocracy of the Libertarian Party.
That's great.
Yeah.
So if NODA wins, none of the above wins, you're not going to have a candidate for the Libertarian Party. Do you think that's something that you're willing to deal with right now, despite what you
That's
just
why
went through
I'm
this
leaving
whole?
the hall.
Okay.
I don't want to be part of that decision.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Definitely
my
will post
pleasure.
you up. I'm Pasta. I've
All right, so shout out again to Pasta. So as a final note for this story, what can we take away from this? it's important for us to remember that with this convention now passed, Libertarians now have to get their candidate out there. They have to do media press. They have to reach out. But already there's been some pushback because a couple of Libertarians are not happy with him being the overall nominee. Some of his past tweets, his conversations, and so much more. Do I think that this is going to be a groundbreaking moment for the Libertarians? No. No, at this point, we are in May. So there's May, you enter June, July, August, September, October, then comes November. If anything, what I would suggest for future third parties and independent candidates is get your house in order before the election year. Pick who your nominee is going to be, because whoever your front person is going to be, they need to start laying out the groundwork. They should have had their nominee, and this goes for all third parties and independents. You should have had your nominee set and ready before 2024 even started. And yes, it's a tall order. It's a high order. I understand there's rules and regulations. But in order for people to really pay attention to what third parties can do, you have to be organized. You have to show who you are. And this election cycle has left much to be desired. I have felt a huge burden covering this entire election year, looking at the candidates, looking at the amount of disappointment, the opportunities that were lost. And really now we have to look at alternatives. Yes, this election cycle, people are going to be voting. People have chosen who they're going to vote for. And it's up to all of you to make your own choices. However, once November passes, the world still continues on. And the only way we can effectively gain back our power is not trusting in political parties or politicians or candidates or rules or nomination process. It is up to us to regain our liberties and our power. And that is through citizen ballot initiatives. And that is, again, a focal point that we have to take care of. And that is the main focus. The main focus that we have to take care of. And that is us gaining our power and walking around the politicians, walking around parties. And I have covered this on the show before. What else can we do with citizen ballot initiatives? Well, already we've seen firsthand cannabis legalization for recreational and medicinal use. There's also been a lot of talk about, again, using citizen ballot initiatives for Medicare for all. We've seen citizen ballot initiatives being used to protect a woman's right to choose. We've seen citizen ballot initiatives being used to protect voters and their rights. And we've seen how both parties are trying to destroy what remains of the states that do have citizen ballot initiatives. Look, congratulations to the Libertarians that you got your nominee. And yes, you've gotten a lot of attention and media attention because you had RFK Jr. and Trump there. But, you know, there was an opportunity lost there of what could have been a historic debate if maybe the candidates did agree to actually having a debate. What a sight that would have been, but it's now gone. Don't trust in parties. Don't trust in politicians. I don't know how November will play out. And it's going to be up to each of you to make your own choice, how you're going to vote. But knowing how Trump and RFK Jr. got dismissed by the Libertarians, this kind of tells me, too, also about how enthusiastic voters are about their selections so far. I'm very curious to see the numbers of the voter turnout, because if voter turnout is at an all-time low, especially for this year, this should tell everyone, and especially the entire media and the political landscape, that voters are just burnt out.